Welcome to Season 3 of the Take the Leap podcast. We want to thank you for being a part of this journey with us.
Whether you're just starting to tune in or you're a longtime listener of the podcast, you can expect to hear from entrepreneurs in all stages of their journey, how they got to where they are, and all the mistakes and victories they've had along the way.
We're excited to share new guests and have some returning folks from our first 2 seasons. Thank you for being here, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey, it's Mary Williams, and I run Sasquatch Media Grounds in downtown Vancouver, Washington. This is where creators and entrepreneurs come to sound like themselves, not like some algorithm's idea of what's trending. We make podcasts and YouTube shows for people who actually do the work, not just post about it. No influencer fluff, no performative nonsense, just clarity, confidence, and really good sound. Come find us at sasquatchmediagrounds.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Take the Leap podcast. We're really excited, one, to be back in Sasquatch Media Grounds to record this episode. If you haven't listened to it, please go back and listen to Mary Williams' episode that kicked off our season. And we are also bringing back returning guest, Dusti Arab. Thanks, Dusti, for being here with us.
Yay.
Do you want to just kick off and tell us what has been happening in your life since we last chatted? Just about a year ago, I think, was when we published the episode. So
I feel like a few things have changed for you.
Yeah.
Just a few.
Yeah.
Well, for anyone who doesn't know me already, I'm Dusti. I am a marketer at the Reinvention Co. And then last year, about this time, I started a new business called Hearth Hollow that is helping with local resiliency initiatives by growing plants.
Yeah, I remember. So I went back and I listened to the previous episode. One, I loved that we had the very nice blue hair. And then you kept looking off to the right because you were like, I have tomato seed starts over there. So I also wanted to dig in to what happened with those.
It was foreshadowing.
and a foreshadowing of current life.
Oh my God. Well, it turns out your girl is really good with tomatoes specifically. Among other things, now I have after growing them all summer long for other people and just selling the plants themselves. Like for me, it isn't like I want to be a farmer out of my backyard. Like I don't really have the space for that, first of all. But also, like, I know that's not where I'm the strongest. I'm the strongest as both a connector and an educator. It's definitely what makes me such a good marketer. And so along those same lines, like with the tomato starts, I just had this kind of funny thing happen. Like I'd sold a lot of plants on this particular Facebook gardening group that's like hyper local, mostly people in my neighborhood. But I mean, I made more money doing that last like Q2 than I did like in my marketing business, which is like not great, but that's the kind of year it was for marketing last year and for small business owners, at least for me. But over the fall, I like haphazardly threw up a post on Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, oh yeah, Marketplace, I should probably do that, duh. And I left it up there. Not much happened until it did. And I got a call from this old guy, Bill. Bill is a supply chain director at a regenerative agriculture robotics company up in Seattle. And Bill needed somebody to grow tomato plants because it turned out that all of the farms in the area around him were busy growing poinsettias for the holidays. So now I have these cool robots being trained not to kill my tomato plants. Basically, it's like a giant solar panel with like these little tiny hose on it.
Wow.
So they're working on training it. So I'm sending them up tomato plants. I still have, God, probably 200 in my little grow lab right now. Nice. So we've come a long way.
Yeah. Well, because you also have like the hoop house, greenhouse thing in your backyard as well. Like I remember when I lived here in Portland, we did tomato plant, and we don't really like tomatoes, did tomato plants once. They were the best volunteers that came back year after year. And it was like, how do we kill these so that we can grow the things we actually want instead of, you'd have your zucchini over here and just like a tomato just came up through the middle of it.
You cannot convince me that tomatoes are not an invasive species. Like what you've experienced is 1,000% true.
Yeah,
that's absolutely
definitely
true.
feels like a weed.
Yeah.
Anytime we've planted it like in our garden beds, it's just completely taken over to the point where like nothing else grows around it.
Yeah, that's
fun.
pretty much it. Yeah. So while I'm still starting a lot of tomato starts for other people, I will personally be growing much fewer tomato plants for myself this year.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Are you sick of tomatoes at this point?
Yeah, because I actually still in I have a window like right above my kitchen sink, And I've had them ripening there since the beginning of December, and I'm just now finishing up all of the tomatoes. It is bananas.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool though. And I feel like in this world that we live in, there's a lot of like food insecurity. There's also just like a lot of food things happening in our country right now. And it's a little bit scary. And I think people are like wondering like, where's our food coming from?
As they should be.
Yeah. And also, is that going to kill me? Because I just saw another recall on tomatoes or cucumbers, or ground beef is the newest one at the moment. And I think people are really freaking out. And so I think I love that you started kind of like a community of like this community-based thing of, hey, I'm going to start doing this thing. And I'm hoping that maybe it's like encouraged other people to do similar things, because right now that's like all we really can do.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I started it. This time last year, it really felt like a message from, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, like plant something. Like, this is your job right now. Yeah. And that really was the thing that carried me through last year more than pretty much anything else. Like feeling like really compelled towards something. Like I don't know, I kind of fell into marketing, and while I love so much of what I do there, and we can talk more about that later, this is my work. Like, I know that like, this is my work. It's connected to food. It's connected to bringing people together in this particular way. And the way that the business has evolved, like last year, I mean, I couldn't have told you that I was going to do markets last year. And now I'm at the Vancouver Farmers Market. I will be, regularly here in February and all through the summer. I'm working with these other companies now. And I started a plant CSA out of my backyard. So for anyone listening who isn't aware of what the term is, CSA means community supported agriculture. And typically when you buy a CSA share, you get a box of fruits and veggies from a farm every month. This is the same thing, except you get plants for your garden. So you can either opt for, totally.
That's
so
cool.
And it's better for all the reasons. Like, this is all local. I use organic dirt. I'm using fantastic seeds. It's all like ones that I know are going to do really well in this climate. Some that I saved from last year, so they're even adapted to this environment. But it's all people in my community. Like, I actually had a woman she has the best yard in the neighborhood. From the moment we moved in like 5 years ago, I was like,
yeah, where you get yard envy.
She's got the cute scoopy fence and the jasmine like on the side of it, and herbs that people can take all the way around. And like, she used to hide like little trinkets and things for kids in there. Nice. So my kids have like interacted with her in those things. And she was one of the first people to buy an annual subscription from me. That's so cool. And she'd messaged me, and she was so cute because she was like, I'm sorry, I can't get the thing to work. Can I bring you a check? And I was like, oh, of course, baby, you can bring me a check. And I was like, kind of poo-pooing it. I absolutely underestimated who this woman was, because the reason she isn't growing as much of her own is like, she's in her mid-70s. She just spent 6 weeks in Japan with her husband, and she brought back these different seeds and species. She wants to my help growing rice this year.
That's super cool.
Right? I'm like, oh my God. Hello, new bestie. First of all. But she's spreading the word in the neighborhood because she's lived here 40 years. So like, what I wanted was to help all of my neighbors grow food. And now that is exactly what I'm doing.
That's so cool. So that's going to feel so good.
Yeah, it does. It's very exciting.
Yeah. You just seem so much more into it. Like, I know all three of us do marketing. We all love marketing in our own way, but there's something about that newness and being able to like explore something that you're passionate about, that, I don't know. I mean,
you just light up when you talk about it.
Yeah. It's definitely. Yeah, I know we all we talk about working with mission-driven people and mission-driven businesses, and it's so easy for that to feel, like a cliche for us at this point, because it's just what you write because you don't know how else to say it. But like, really, like, this is my mission-driven work.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that.
How has it been to pivot from being like a service provider to being a product person?
Oh,
Because it's
man.
such a different beast.
Such a different beast. Well, I mean, I would say that I'm still really 50-50. And in a lot of ways, I still am providing a service.
Yeah.
So it's just a
Yeah.
productized service.
Yeah.
And with the CSA especially. And that I feel a lot more comfortable with, to be honest, because it's not so like piecemeal. Like I can sell you a plant, but like with the CSA, people are getting grow guides for each of the things that come with the subscription. So it's like that heavy education component. They're getting access to my Substack that has all of the political stuff too. Like, and it is like increasingly getting like more like locally politically involved. And, you know, so I'm able to use a lot more of my marketing skills in that particular fashion. But like on the marketing side of things, I am still doing a lot of that service-based work. It's transitioned to really like, I talked last year a lot about like being interested in like focusing on book launches. Now I'm actually doing that. I am like focused on book launches versus I'd just been like picking up like hourly stuff with like lawyers and stuff to, you know,
Yeah, fill the bucket.
fill the bucket. Lawyers want to do hourly. I hate working hourly, but you know what? They understand it and they'll pay whatever I ask. So it was the right thing at the right time. But getting back into like even with the service-based offerings, having it be like consolidated around a particular like activation point, like I just really prefer to work that way across the board.
Yeah. Well, and it allows you to work more with like your energy and whatever you're feeling at that time. Cause like sometimes when I'm working for people hourly, I'm like, well, I'm going to charge you my head spinning out time and like the time I'm looking for your email or looking through the things.
That text message that came
yes,
in.
exactly. Or especially if there's people who are not like super well organized, I'm like, okay, now I got to spend like 10 minutes organizing this into a fashion. Cause you sent me 7 emails about the project.
Oh my God.
And then putting that together. Yeah. And all those different things. So
It's honestly more efficient for both parties at the end of the day to charge a project fee or flat rate, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the idea of having products, like it actually like, I think I can only do it because my product is food. I have always struggled, even as a marketer, selling stuff that I don't think people actually need.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I used to be able to do all sorts of backflips, being like, well, I mean, they do need this. The right person does need this thing. Do they fucking really? Like, do they really? Like, no, they don't. And we are in such a heavily consumerist focused, capitalist situation. I'm like, no. Do people need to eat? People will always need to eat. I feel extremely confident and extremely good about selling them a healthy plant or my jam or whatever. Like that's easy for me. So like as long as I'm not selling crap, I feel great about it.
I really appreciate you saying that because I feel like you just gave me an aha moment from last year of me slogging my way through clients that I just took on just because it was a weird year. Yeah. And it really, I was like, am I good at this anymore? Do I suck? Or do I just hate this?
God, I know exactly that feeling though, because I had that moment on a contract where I ended up like, I burned a bridge, and then I emailed my email list about it. I was like, "You guys want to see? You guys want to see how?"
I did remember this. This is up on Substack. We can share it with the audience. So I remember when all of that was going.
I was like, "Yeah, go Dusty."
I was so pissed. Oh my God, I was so pissed. But really, like, I mean, I think it's valid for us, especially as marketers, to be questioning those things. Because I mean, I know what it means to feel like, am I just not good at this? Or again, is it just not actually in alignment with what I want to be doing now?
Yeah. Especially like, you know, if you're trying to set boundaries around things or you're just trying to like be in a space that works for you. Like that's one of the new things that I've been trying to really address this year is if things feel icky or I need to push back on somebody, like actually advocating for myself. And like it recently happened with a client. We have a Slack Slack group, they were like pinging me in all of these separate channels. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to look at this when I'm like actually working on your stuff. And then they finally realized they're like, we should send it in just like a single round out email or message. And so I was just like, yes, that's very helpful because I am not going to track them as you're looking, you know, doing that. And then also, you know, I mean, I don't work 24/7 for them. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to maybe miss the things that are higher in the branch because I'm looking at the message on the bottom first before I actually get there. So I was like, I'm glad you guys figured that out. Make it easier to actually get what you want.
Right. Also, Slack is not a project management tool.
Oh my God, I know.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's a whole other topic. But one thing that I recently started doing, and this is thanks to Michael Jonas because he looked at my client agreements for me, which was amazing. I actually put like a clause in it that talked about how I communicate with my clients, and Slack is not one of the things for me personally because I'm like, absolutely not. Yeah. But, I put in there, I'm like, you know, I won't respond, you know, I will respond to your email as quickly as I can, but you know, give it 24 to 48 hours. If you text me, you're allowed to, but I may not answer, especially if it's outside of my working hours, you know? And like, I like really detailed that out. And for some reason, just doing that, like I've never had a conversation with a client about it, but like just doing that, like changed
the way
the energy for me. And so, anyway, that was a little off topic, but I just thought of that.
Yeah, I have that in a section of my contract, and somebody who I recently signed on was like, "That's really good. I need to start doing that because it has like the tree of things like email. Usually respond within 24 hours, but that doesn't mean whatever you wanted in there gets done. I'll just be like, got it, gonna work on it on this date, or I will get that to you by then. Or a lot of times I just be like, when do you need this? When do you really need it? Not when do you want it? When do you need it? So that I can, you know, figure it out in the grand scheme of things. And then if I don't answer the email, then you can message me. If I don't answer your text message, then you can call me. But like those are the orders of operations. And I get to determine when something is an emergency because
there aren't just marketing emergencies.
For literally anything. Literally anything. Nothing's that important.
Well, and I think it's important too, like to have boundaries that are explicitly and clearly laid out like that in like right from the get-go. I mean, it does set the tone, but it also gives other people permission to set their own boundaries. Like maybe if they are looking at your contract and realizing, oh, like that's hot. Like if they go and do that too, and that could be getting them more time with their families on the weekend for all we know. Like the ripple effect of that is incredible.
Yeah.
It's so important.
It protects both sides. Yeah. It's for both of us, not just for one-sided. So
awesome.
Yeah.
I want to know what your backyard is like because switching subjects completely. I want to know what your backyard is like because I know you have your greenhouse and your setup, and we have a very small backyard, and we've been trying to strategize how to grow more food in a very limited area. We also brought home 2 apple trees randomly for no reason. They were just on sale. So we're really limiting the amount of space we have in our backyard. And so I just want to know what your setup is like and how you're able to fit everything.
Totally. Well, I am spoiled rotten because we are on 1/3 of an acre.
That's amazing.
So my greenhouse actually just doubled itself.
All by itself? Oh my
All by itself. I don't know how that happened. Suddenly I have another one. Well, I needed a second one. So I'm using one now that's going to be for like experiments and like growing for my family for like food resiliency for us personally. And then this new one, I'm like, it's going to be a huge project. Me and my 13-year-old is about to make some serious dollars because he's going to go and lie 200 papers for me in my new greenhouse because it's just going to be easier to keep clean is the biggest thing. Like the other one is just on the dirt. I mulched in there. Like, so it's a little more like, you know, salt of the earth in there. But it's fine for in there. The other one is going to be for like keeping things like clean and disease free and all that kind of thing. But to your point, as far as like what you can be doing in that small space, this is a huge passion point area for me because until we lived in this house, I only lived in apartments, like basically my entire life. And I've always had this gardening interest. And so I am the queen of the container garden. And there's actually everything in my small CSA share. Every single one of those is a variety that's designed to also work really well in a container garden.
Okay.
And so it's like there's one, I actually got these seeds from my mother-in-law because she's been like kind of getting into it too, because like both of her daughters and me, like we're all like, we are in it. So like, and she's got this great south facing slope. So, but she had these, they're called orange hat tomatoes.
Ooh.
It's the cutest little pot I've ever seen. They're like this big and they don't get any bigger than that. And it's so prolific. Like, I mean, 2 of them are enough tomatoes. Like, it's more tomatoes than you're going to want to eat. Even if you're eating them every single day, like by the handful, in salads, whatever, you're going to have more.
Fucking magic.
They absolutely
like the fact that you can yield so much out of something so tiny.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's crazy.
Right. Well, and we're not just reduced to these, like the crappy, tasteless, flavorless produce that we're used to at the store. Like there's so many more options out there. But for maximizing a small space, so like with your apple trees are actually phenomenal for a small space because you can espalier them. So I don't know if you're familiar with that at all, but that's where you train your tree to like stand straight and flat. And so you just pull them along your fence and you prune them every, January, February, and just keep growing them out that way. So you can still have a super productive little orchard in a really small space. You can run it right along your fence. And even if it is in a spot where it like gets less sun, it's not going to matter. Once it's established, like apple trees here, they do not care. Like they're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and if you want to talk more after this about like good varieties for that, like what kind of sunlight you're working with, anything like that, definitely happy to discuss. The other thing that I would recommend to anybody listening is there is a wonderful book called Square Foot Gardening. And that should be everyone's Bible, regardless about how much space you have to work with, because it's just efficient. It's just smart. So seed packets, lie. Do not believe the seed packet. It says 18 inches between plants. We don't play that game. We go diagonals. We do companion planting.
I was going to say the companion planting thing just is mind blowing because there are certain things that grow good together.
Totally.
That you're just like, I don't need to sacrifice my square footage because they need this much space.
Right. And there's almost always something else. Like there's a different variety that will work for your space. So like tomatoes are a great example of this because there are 2 kinds of tomato plants. There are determinate and indeterminate. Determinate means it's like a bush. It's only going to grow. So like those orange hat ones I talked about, that's a determinate variety. It's only going to get this big. Indeterminate varieties grow vines. And they will keep growing as long.
They will cover your entire plot.
They will.
Of area.
They will, unless you grow them up and let them drop down. So you can just treat it like you would like English ivy or something. Just let it do its thing and grow up and give it somewhere to go. And you keep harvesting them all the way up and down. So you can make that tomato plant, like they'll get 30 feet long in a season if they're happy where they're at. But that's enough tomatoes for a family and then some. You're still going to be giving them away. But you can utilize, vertical space. Like vertical space is the biggest thing. Have trellises around.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Vertical,
Vertical gardening really like it's the way, it's the truth. Like you can do so much with it. And especially if you're working with like limited sun, like my yard, I have 12 gigantic pine trees right in the way of everything. And while I am actively working to get them removed, it's going to be $20,000 to get all those big old trees removed.
Oh my gosh.
That's
insane.
It is. But it's also like, do I want to get up in a 200-foot Scots pine? Hell no.
No.
So once that happens, I mean, I do still have my neighbor's big trees, but that is going to impact how much, I can grow. But there are also other ways you can increase your yield, like making sure you're composting regularly. Now, like we're in January right now, it's a great time to be adding nutrients to your soil, doing a soil test if you need to, see if there's anything that needs to happen to, really maximize when you start putting things in the ground here. Something else to consider is that climate change. Climate change is something to keep in mind. Like I planted my fall garden really late, the middle of November. And I was like, I still got these plants. Like maybe I'll just stick them in the ground and see what happens. I'm actively harvesting bok choy and lettuce right now because we haven't had a real hard frost.
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah.
So like you really can grow year round here, especially with like, you don't need a huge greenhouse. Like you can use like a humidity dome. You can get them for like $1 a piece, you know, pretty much anywhere at this point. Pop it over there. If you know it's going to be cold, you're good to go.
That's so smart.
Yeah. It's really magic now what we can do with growing as well. So,
and it doesn't need to take a lot of time. Like, I mean, I'm a big fan of perennials too. Like, and there are perennial versions of most annuals, like onions. There's a variety called a walking onion, colloquially, and it grows, it fruits, and then it bends over basically and starts another plant. So you can start them in like a corner of your yard, and you just got onions forever.
That's amazing.
And then you don't have to plant it again. And I'm like, I'm a big fan of lazy gardening.
Yeah.
Like,
same.
And I remember there was a year, so like our garden would always go crazy because we would basically, my husband used to grow cannabis, and we would take the soil that was the cannabis soil and just like throw it on top of our garden because all of the nutrients were used up to grow another cannabis plant, but not to grow anything else. And so much stuff would just go crazy over there. One day we were like, just for shits and giggles, we were like, it was after we watched The Martian, we were like, we wonder if potatoes really grow that way. We had so many freaking potato plants in the front yard, just like popping up everywhere. And we had a lot of like houseless folks in our neighborhood. And so they would like knock on our door and be like, we would leave the potatoes like out that we grabbed. Aww. And they were like, can we take them? I'm like, yep, that's why they're there. Anything that you see sitting on the edge of the retaining wall is up for grabs. We don't need them. We don't want them. Anytime you're going past, please feel free. But I was like, please don't pick my fruit. Like I will put it out when it is yours. Please don't take it off my vines. And so that was just really, I don't know. We did so many experiments in that little front space.
It's so smart. Well, and like potatoes, honestly, everyone should grow potatoes. Like, because who doesn't get a bag of potatoes that's too big and then they sprout?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So my front entryway, my bed that I have there, that's the lazy potato bed. So whenever I get one that's sprouted, I was like, oops, didn't get to it in time and it's soft. I literally just chuck it out there. I don't bury it. I don't do anything. And so every spring I go and I get all my new potatoes that overwintered. And then like, it's just, I mean, I'm going to have potatoes in that bed literally forever. It's the same kind of thing as tomatoes. It is basically invasive.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. That's a great idea. I didn't even think about that. Because when they sprout, I'm like, oh man. And then
just cut them into pieces. As long as it has one of the sprout things on it, like that'll make 20 different potato plants.
Incredible.
Cheap and easy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to start doing that. Yeah. My husband is like the main gardener because I just don't have a lot of patience, honestly. But I have a lot of plans for what I want to do with the food that he grows.
Which is just as important.
Exactly. So
you can be the strategist and he can be the person who executes. That's totally fine.
I'm learning how to can food. Like I'm very anxious about it. Like I'm really worried I'm going to poison my home family. I don't know why.
That's a normal fear.
Yeah. Botulism is real.
It is real. But I did make applesauce and can that, and that was really fun. And I'm like, oh, I could do this with more stuff. I could do this with vegetables. It's just fun. And we have a deep freezer now. Ooh. So I've been like doing stuff in there and like freezing vegetables that way.
We could go in on a cow. Like I just got a deep freezer too. Like let's split a cow.
Oh, we're talking after this.
Yeah.
I'm so down for this.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm so afraid to eat food that our government is apparently regulating because
they got all the regulatory agencies that are supposed to be actually looking at our food. And so really it's increasingly less safe to purchase anything
from the grocery store. Yeah.
Really. And I mean, and I am 100% going to make this play here. If you're not buying organic everything, you absolutely should be.
Yeah.
Just on every level, like it's too much information to go into right now, but if you're not buying organic, that is literally the most cost-effective change for your family's health you can make right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's too much to track right now, like what companies are doing what. So it's like if you just buy organic across the board, then at least you know. Yeah. We could talk about that for hours. We could go on a whole different tangent there.
Season 4 episode.
To your point about the canning, though, I think you bring up a really great and very common fear, like when people are starting to get into food preservation, because I was totally the same way. I felt good about doing jam and about canning tomatoes because I'd learned how to do that in a class. And really, like, taking a class or something, and there are more and more available in communities all over the place because more and more people are kind of waking up to the fact that, like, we take care of us in this regard, just like everything else. So as long as you've got, like, that ball, there's, like, a ball manual that's, like, all government, like when the government was, like, helpful in trying to keep us safe, it's got all of the basics in there. So, like, if you're concerned about like botulism can only happen in a low acid environment. So that's why you can can things like my raspberry jam. I can do that and sell it to everybody easily and be confident about the fact that I'm not going to give anyone botulism because it's so high acid and there's lemon juice in it and it's sugar. So the way it's preserved, like, you just don't have to worry about it. But if I wanted to can beans, for instance, that's a very different thing, and you have to use a different kind of canner for it. So it's like the difference between water bath canning and pressure canning. So there is, like, a lot of good data there. It's totally possible to can tons and tons of stuff without even a pressure canner, though. So it's you just gotta add lemon juice most of the time.
It's good to know.
It's good to know.
I like that.
I'm learning so many things.
Like, I know. I'm like going in my brain. I'm like, I have a whole list of questions now that have nothing to do with this podcast.
I know. But nobody thought today they were going to get a lesson on, like, food access and, like, how you can start, preserving your own food and gardening with your family and stuff. But it really, it's so related to so many of the other things that we're doing, though. But yeah, I'm also happy to talk about, like, book launches and things because that's where I make the majority of my money anyway.
The other side of the world, the world of things.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just important, just in general, to talk about just like how pivoting is a really natural part of entrepreneurship anyway. So whether that's forming an entirely new business or taking what you used to focus on and changing that based on things that you learn along the way, I think it's important. And I think everybody goes through it to some degree. Not everybody, starts an entirely new business and goes into gardening and food, but I think it is, especially in this world, it's a lot easier to make pivots, I think, and it's a lot easier to start businesses in general. I mean, depending on the type of business too, but I think it's important to talk about because I think I always kind of was of the mindset, probably because of how I was raised, that once you start something, you have to finish it. And to be successful, you have to follow this exact path to get there. And anytime I started to, like, deviate from that a little bit, or I started to evolve something, there was always this voice in the back of my head, Mom, who would say, like, are you sure you want to be doing this? Are you sure? Have you thought about this? And I think it's just important for entrepreneurs to be like, you're not doing anything wrong. Like, I think this is a natural progression to get to where you want to go because it's life, right?
Oh, God, absolutely. Well, and I mean, this time last year, it would have felt maybe even a little bit random for people who didn't know me for me to start down this path. But when I look at it, I'm like, of course I ended up here. This is what I cared about in college. Like, I went and got a permaculture certificate. I studied environmental economics, and it's so funny because I have constantly joked about my student loan debt, and I was like, I'm never going to use that degree. I'm never going to use that degree. And you know what I'm writing an essay about right now? It's environmental economics is what it boils down to. And now I'm like, that's funny the way that actually ended up turning out. But, like, I wouldn't have been able to launch this thing and be able to fill a CSA the way that I have if I didn't have my marketing background. And that is the benefit also of being a marketer versus, like, other kinds of small business owners. I'm like, I know whatever venture I do is going to be successful because of my marketing background.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, any pivot I make isn't going to be entirely off base. But with the move into, like, food and, like, social justice initiatives and all of that, I don't know, like it's a pivot, but it really just feels like I'm finally stepping into demonstrating my values the way that I've always wanted to. And that happens to be how I make my money too. So it's, yes, a pivot, but really it's like a lot of like alignment work and values work for me.
Yeah, realignment.
Yeah.
Or just, or jumping into the thing that you kind of already should have been doing, but just needed the space.
Be like,
to
I can never
explore
make money doing that. And I'm not making the majority of my money doing it yet. But I think by the end of this year, it's probably going to be 50-50. And next year, who knows?
Yeah. That's
love
amazing. That is really awesome. Because I feel like it came like you started doing it, and then all I was seeing, I was like, oh shit, Dusti's doing Hearth and Hollow. I was like, is Dusty still doing reinvention and all of these different things? And so but it's been really fun to just watch the journey and just like have you jump fully into it too. Because I think sometimes when people take pivots, they're still going back and forth, so they're still like flip flopping, and they don't put their effort into the new thing, and then they're like, well, that fucked up, and I'm like, well, because you didn't even try to play the entire game, like.
Which I did the year before. With like a food tour initiative. And I still love it. I still love taking my friends around cities and marching them to all the best fucking restaurants. But when the election went the way it did, I had to put it down because I knew it wasn't right. Like it was not okay for me to be focusing on an initiative that only people with money can focus on.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not my work. Like, is it something I love? Absolutely. Food will always be a huge part of like what I love and my journey and all of that. But it cannot and should not be my primary focus. I did I 100% dropped it before I moved into
I think
this.
that is how we actually initially met. Is we were at some Prosper Portland event where I got your card about the food tour thing.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Because I was just like, I remember when I met you through Mary, and I was just like, why does this person's name sound familiar? But it had not, like at the time, it had nothing to do with marketing. And I was like, maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I didn't actually meet this person. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a very real possibility that I could totally see running retreats at some point where it's all these things are coming together and food's a big part of it. So I think it was just the form that it was taking needed to change.
Yeah.
And I absolutely do. I'm grateful that I did it and got to experience that with a handful of groups, and that people were so willing to be so supportive of me jumping into this totally different thing. But I knew then even that I needed something that felt more boots on the ground, more in person with people, post COVID. I was desiring that for my work as much as anybody else. But yeah, the whole being outside and not just in front of my screen the way I was before. Oh man. I mean, I'm salty, but I'm way less salty now. I dropped a bunch of weight last year. I'm just healthier across the board. My mental health is better. Being outside more like this, I feel so different and so much better equipped to handle so many of these things, and better equipped, honestly, to show up the way that I need to in this increasingly scary time that we're in.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you saying all that. And I remember there was a point when you were kind of starting this and transitioning this way. You had written something, I think it was on your Substack, about how you couldn't just sit in fear anymore and you had to do something. And I think that's just as relevant today as it was back then, because it's really scary. It's really hard. It's increasingly getting worse for everyone. And I think a lot of people are just kind of putting their heads in the sand and which, look, I get it. We're all trying to survive here.
Yeah.
But the only way we are going to get through this is if we create the community we need. And if we support each other. And that fact is never going to change. And so we can either give up or we can do everything we can do. And
totally.
That, not everybody is going to do it in the same way either.
Exactly. Well, and that's exactly what I was just going to say. We both have small children. It doesn't make sense for us to necessarily be boots on the ground at a protest.
Right.
As white women, is that where we're going to have the most impact? I mean, sometimes, yeah. But most of the time, I would argue we are better off fighting in rooms that other people can't get into.
Yeah.
And finding ways to connect people that, maybe don't exist yet or don't exist in the places where it's accessible to other people and things like that. So whatever your part of the fight looks like is valid. Just make sure that you're showing up for your part of the fight.
Yeah. I love that. I'm going to clip that quote
That
out.
is a quote, yeah.
Just play it on a loop.
Quote and quotables.
I might keep that one as my reminder this year
like
too,
that.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're not very far into this year.
No,
I don't
not
even
at
know
all.
what day it is.
What day? Yeah. We're on a Friday. We always podcast on a Friday. Well, thank you again, Dusty, for being with us today. I'm going to wrap up with our final question, which is, what is a piece of media content that you are really digging or really into now? So, last year it was what song or music album. Now it could be a book, it could be a podcast, it could be a movie, TV show that you are enjoying.
Oh man, I'm such a loser.
You're not.
I don't engage with a whole lot of media, but I did finally this past year started listening to podcasts because I was out in the garden so much. And my favorite one is called the Market Gardener Podcast with J.M. Fortier. He is someone who is helping kind of lead this initiative. He's Canadian, of more small farms everywhere. And so he profiles people who are doing the work. And
That is so cool.
it's so interesting. Even if you do not care at all about farming, hearing these people's stories about their journeys and how they ended up doing what they're doing, because it's a lot of people, not necessarily like me, where I am not probably who you'd expect to be going into something that's even farming adjacent. It's a lot of folks like that, though. And seeing how many people are willing and actively trying to change the story around what that means around food production and how we're accessing it and how we're connecting other people to doing more of this work it's very life-giving.
I love that.
So will we hear you on that podcast someday?
Yeah, I know.
I heard an interview last week that made me think, I could be on here. Actually.
I feel like you should reach out
Give
and
me
figure out
2
a way.
years, but I'm going to pitch them on taking me on.
I love this.
Yeah. Well, was there anything that we didn't cover today that you want to make sure that we cover in general for our audience before we wrap?
Honestly, I feel like we nailed it. I didn't expect to talk this much about plants and Hearth and Hollow stuff, but I'm so glad we did.
Yeah.
It was really fun. It was a really good conversation. And I'm going to talk your ear off after this.
Yes,
I know. We've been really excited as we've been looking for houses in Vegas of keeping a space big enough to put up a greenhouse, because there's a nursery there that we can get key lime plants and lemons and cara oranges, and they're really, really affordable. You can get, you can tell this is a 1-year-old plant that's $39. Here's a 2-year-old plant that's $150. To me, that's just banger, especially if they already have flowers or fruit on them. I'm just you produce already. Please come be at my house.
Well, and again, don't underestimate your local Facebook groups, because lots of people will just give you free plants. I got my apple trees that are 5-year-old grafted, they're going to start producing next year. I got it for freezies from a guy who was learning how to graft last year, and he was I have too many figs and apples. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Someone please take them and plant them. So
I need to remember that too, because lots of times people leave Vegas in a hurry and they're I just need to get rid of my shit and I don't want to throw it away.
Yep, it does not have to be an expensive endeavor to start growing food.
No.
Very, very cool. Well, thank you for that reminder. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And with that, listeners, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Take the Leap. And thank you, shout out again for Sasquatch Media Grounds for being our space. And we will see you next time.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Take the Leap podcast. Check out our show notes to connect with us and our guests. If you have questions about the episode or ideas for future topics, send us a direct message on Instagram or email us at aloha@taketheleap-today.com. If you're interested in being a guest, fill out the guest interest form on our website.
If you're a new entrepreneur who is looking for a roadmap to move your business idea forward, check out the Take the Leap course on our website, taketheleap-today.com. Members who join the course also have an opportunity to join us in bi-weekly co-working and group coaching calls to build momentum and work on your business.
And if you'd like a flavor of what we offer, sign up for our free webinar with the 9 essential steps you need to launch your business with clarity and confidence. See you next time.